Just like what Kuya Nathan said, even as a student, there's still so many questions about the internet because the internet is a vast space to explore. I myself, even though I'm a computer science student, I'm still learning things about the internet every day. How about you, Grace?
Same thoughts actually. Even though I'm using the internet every day, I feel like there's still a lot to learn about it.
Well, we're no more, Grace, and everyone. To enlighten and give us answers to our various questions and speculations, our first topic for today, am I deceived knowing the basics of internet? Let's welcome Miss Athena Abe, an IT support associate at Filta and content creator at YouTube. Let's give her a virtual round of applause.
Hi everyone! Hello!
Hello, Miss Athena.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay, can you see it now, guys?
Yes, we can see your
Okay.
screen.
Thank you for that introduction, Aliza and Grace. So today we're going to talk about the basics of the internet. Okay, so before I start, I would just like to give a short introduction about myself. I am Athena Atcha Abe. You can call me Atcha. I am a fourth year computer science student. I am a technical community manager, a IT support associate, and a former social media specialist. I am also a content creator. I create educational and entertainment content and a mentor in the IT community. There. So today we're going to answer all of the questions that you have given me in advance, everything about the internet. So here's the real tea, di ba? Yan yung common interest talaga ng generation natin ngayon, yung mga tea or mga chika. Ayan. So today we're going to learn not just about the internet, but everything related to it. So we will be learning what the internet really is about, how does it work. We know how to use it, but we don't know how it works. We will also be answering your questions about internet speed, internet security, and the next we will be also learning about what's a deeper part of the internet. The internet finds you commonly right now are aware about the term cryptocurrency, but what does it really do? What is it for? You also have been hearing about the term deep and dark web. And the cookies, you always encounter cookies. Nakakain ba to? Ano ba? Para saan ba ang cookies sa world of internet? And third, as a student myself, I can really relate to the struggle, especially we're in a new school year right now. It's hard to learn online. Even as tech and engineering students, di ba, common misconception is kala nila madali lang kasi online, virtual. But I'll be guiding you on some learning hacks and tools about how internet can affect our health, how internet can influence us learning online. And also, I'll be guiding you, preparing you on how to become a professional in the tech industry. So, I've been in the industry for more than 6 years pa lang, but I've learned a lot and I'm here to guide you through it through the use of the internet. So, let's begin. So, first, the internet. So, let's have a brief history of the internet. When did it start? How does it really work? The internet started in 1970s pa, and it was co-created by Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn. And guys, I have a surprise for you. We actually have a special guest with us tonight. We have Vint Cerf. Yes, tama. Narinig nyo, si Vint Cerf nandito, and he will be explaining a brief introduction about the internet. Ayan, take it away, Vint.
What is the internet?
The internet is like a popular thing.
Some satellites up there.
I picture in my head with like waves of internet going to the phone.
Somebody told me a cloud once.
The internet is a lot like plumbing. It's always moving.
Most people don't have any idea where the internet came from, and it doesn't matter. They don't need to. It's sort of like asking who invented the ballpoint pen or the flush toilet or, the zipper. These are all things that we just use every day, and we don't even think about the fact that one day somebody invented them. So the internet is just like that. Many, many years ago, in the early 1970s, my partner Bob Kahn and I began working on the design of what we now call the internet. It was a result of another experiment called the ARPANET, which stood for Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. It was a Defense Department research project. Paul Barron was trying to figure out how to build a communication system that might actually survive a nuclear attack. So he had this idea of breaking messages up into blocks and sending them as fast as possible in every possible direction through the mesh network. So we built what eventually became a nationwide experimental packet network, and it worked. Is anybody in charge of the internet?
The government controls it.
Elves, obviously elves.
The people who control the Wi-Fi, because then no Wi-Fi, no internet. T-Mobile, Xfinity,
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Right?
The honest answer is, well, nobody, and maybe another answer is everybody. The real answer is that the internet is made up of an incredibly large number of independently operated networks. What's interesting about the system is that it's fully distributed. There's no central control that's deciding how packets are routed or where pieces of network are built or even who interconnects with whom. These are all business decisions that are made independently by the operators. They are all motivated to assure that there is end-to-end connectivity of every part of the network, because the utility of the net is that any device can communicate with any other device, just like you want to be able to make phone calls to any other telephone in the world. There's nothing like this that has ever been built before. The idea that what you know might be useful to somebody else, or vice versa, is a very powerful motivator for sharing information. By the way, that's how science gets done. People share information. So this is an opportunity for people to think up new applications, maybe program them as apps on a mobile phone, maybe become part of the continued growth of the infrastructure of the network to bring it to people that don't have access to it yet, or just make use of it on a day-to-day basis. You can't escape from contact with the internet, so why not get to know it and use it?
Ayan. Thank you, Vinker, for being with us. Ayan. Okay. Next. So you guys have a brief idea na of the internet from Vinker himself, and it may seem overwhelming right now, but don't worry, we will be breaking down how the internet works. So as you have seen, network connection of networks, and an internet is a cable with wires. So that is an example of an internet cable. It can be made from fiber optics or copper. Internet is a connection of networks. It can be from a form of networks or satellite. So internet, the way internet works, it is comprised of computers, networks, and communication links. But first, let's differentiate. What is the difference of a web and an internet? A web is an assembly. It is a collection of web pages. And the internet, on the other hand, focuses on the interconnectivity, a network of networks. So the way we access internet is through accessing or opening our web browsers, and it opens the web pages. And next is we will be identifying the difference between the client and the server. So I'll just ask you guys, just type it away in the chat. What do you think the device that you are using? Is it a client or a server? And just chat it away, guys. So do you think you're using a client or a server? So a lot says client. Yes, client po. Ayan, client. Very good, guys. Yes, that's correct. We are using, our devices are the client. And what does the difference of a web server and a client? So a web server is, it is directly connected to the internet. So as you have seen a while ago, yung cable, the internet cable is directly connected to your server or web server. And the way we transfer data or information from one device to another, from the client to the server or vice versa, is through internet protocol or IP address. And this is an example below of an IP address. Just like like the way we send packages, messages, yung mga ino-order natin sa Shopee, Lazada, ayan, malapit na yung sale, di ba? Parang the way these packages are delivered are through our home addresses. So from the sender to the receiver, and in the internet, this same then, we use the IP address to send information to one another. Okay, next. So here, another thing then aside from the IP address, so that's how we send information, is we also have URL or the Uniform Resource Locator. This is what we see on the address bar at the top part of our web browser. And here right now, we're on Zoom. And if you guys are watching from Facebook, hello, you can see at the top of your address bar is the URL. And an example here is yung Zoom. And let's break it down more into different parts. So the different parts of the URL, we have a protocol. So this is a scheme. And HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And Atcha, ano bang pinagkaiba ng HTTP sa HTTPS? So HTTPS is Hypertext Transfer Protocol secure. So on secure socket layer, it is much secure and safer. So always make sure to check then on your address bar if you access web pages or go to different sites to double check if it's secure, you see if it has an HTTPS. And meron na din tayong feature, di ba, na makikita natin dun sa may icon kung safe ba yung site na yun or hindi. And then we also have the domain name. So this is the identification of the site that we are going to. So for example, google.com. And next to it is the path to source. So an example here is, for example, you search about the internet. And that will be the part of it is the path to source. It can be on the web browser, or we also have URL in our local device. So for example, you go to File Explorer, you want to access a file, it also has a URL. So it depends on the port where the file is, where you get the file from. It has a directory and a file name. So hindi lang siya applicable sa internet, but also on your local devices as well. And with the parameters, these parameters help specify yung URL nyo to be able to identify what you need to get. And these parameters are key or value pairs, and they are separated with and or ampersand symbol. Ayan. And here, we also have in the internet, we have internet service providers or the ISP. Sometimes when we use the internet, it's not directly connected to our web server. And the middleman to transfer data is through an ISP or the internet service provider that provides our Wi-Fi or internet. Ayan. So later we will talk about the ISPs. And ayan, ISP. So as you can see, we have a sample. Kung napapansin niyo yung icon, naiintindihan niyo na siguro yan. Ayan ang mga internet service providers natin here in the Philippines. And I will give more examples on how the internet works in terms of transferring data. So for example, a while ago I have mentioned sending packages. It's also the same with sending information through your IP address. So in here below, the sender and the receiver, they have different IP addresses that identify where the information is coming from and coming to. So for example, I want to send an email. I want to use Gmail, but there is a receiver is using Outlook, so different mail provider. So the way we send information, for example, here in our mobile phones, we use Wi-Fi to access the internet, and how information will be sent is through an ISP, so through an internet service provider, whether it may be from your network, your data, or the internet. Okay, next. So let's break it down more. Break it down. Yeah. So how does it really work? So let's go more technical into it. How data is being transferred, diba, we know the data, they have different sizes and different size files. And with data, they're actually broken down into smaller pieces called packets or data packets. For example, I want to send a picture of this cat that is curious about the internet right now. The way it goes to the receiver, it breaks into smaller pieces. So one by one until it goes back to the receiver in a complete image. So ganyan siya nasisend. Smaller data packets. Okay. So another example is, for example, you're at home and hindi lang ikaw yung gumagamit. We have two users. We have two clients in this case. We have user 1 and user 2. For example, you are user 1 and you want to search a video about the internet in YouTube, while the user 2, for example, is a family member and they want to search something, a forum or something, a thread about the internet in Reddit naman. So how does information information flow without hindi nagkakapalit ng information? So from the data packets, we also have the IP addresses, right? And we also have the URL. So how data is being transferred, it's like a candy that has different layers. But the way for these information to transfer from one location to another is with the help of the router. So that's why we have routers connected to our ISP. A router is a networking device that forwards the data packets, the small data packets, into the web server. So for example, here, our server is YouTube and Reddit. So let's start with, for example, you'll be sending, you type there in YouTube or in your browser internet. You want to look it up on YouTube. So the first layer starts in the client, and then next it will go through the router, and it will have another layer. So magkakaroon siya ng IP address, a different IP address to identify na dito nang galing yung, let's say, request or yung gusto nating i-search. And then it will go to the ISP or our internet service provider kung anong gamit nyo ngayon. And then it will also assign a different IP address. Go to the router, another IP, and so on. And how will the information go back to the client? So how it goes is opposite naman, baliktad. It will unravel or it will identify yung type of IP address bago bumalik dun sa receiver. So this is how para hindi magkapalit yung information from two clients to the different servers. So ayan siya. Then unlock na yan hanggang sa ma-identify yung IP address. Okay. So let's have a poll, guys. So are we ready with the poll? Ayan. So with the information that you have gathered here today, I want to know how you use the internet. So there are no wrong answers here. Ayan, check natin. So how do you use the internet? Ayan. Okay, Juan Carlos says through accessing web browsers. Joseph says, I use internet to expand my knowledge. Okay, how? How do you use it? Ayan, so, ayan, here. Let's check the Slido link. Ayan. Let me know then, guys, yung results. And through games, entertainment, communication, Stack Overflow. And okay, let's check yung answers. Let me go to the Slido link. Okay. Adrian says turning the Wi-Fi on, accessing the internet for personal use and to gather information. That's right. Open the browser. Ayan, may mga sagot na from the poll. Open the browser, sabi ni Angeline. Ayan. Okay. Okay, so share natin yung results. Ayan. Okay. Okay, let's check. So, how do you use the internet? So, majority of the people here right now is by turning on the Wi-Fi, followed by type the website in the address bar, and third is open the browser. So walang sumagot ng open computer. So actually, the top 3 answers are all correct and they're interrelated with each other. And commonly talaga, when you use the internet, you have to turn on the Wi-Fi. But to completely put it into use, you of course have to put what you want to search for in the browser or start using it on the web browser. Diba? A while ago, we have differentiated the difference between a web and the internet. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you guys. And speaking of accessing the internet, what is an internet speed? What are the different kinds of internet speed? We all know here in the Philippines, the internet speed is one of the biggest factors na we have to consider, and it's and dito talaga nagkakaroon ng struggle for both students and professors learning online, di ba? And there are 2 kinds of internet speed. We have download or upload speed, and it goes on the following formats. We have bits per second, kilobits, megabits, gigabits, and now we have terabits. Currently, here in the Philippines, guys, ano ba sa tingin niyo yung internet speed na nako-consume natin? Nafe-feel nyo ba? Ayan, you comment it down below. Alin dito sa internet speed yung commonly napapansin nyo? Especially for those who run tests. Ayan. Mbps. Ayan. Paka-active guys ha. KBPS, sabi ni Edwin. Oh no. Ayan, wala pang nakaka-experience ng GBPS. Ayan, wala pa Mbps. And aside from that then, internet speed, we also have different networks. If you have heard of 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, right now we're on the fifth generation of network or called 5G. If you want to learn more on how it is the current speed of the future, if you have known na there are being may cell towers na nabibuild for this network, and if you want to learn an in-depth explanation about 5G, and I told here, I have a video on my YouTube channel talking about my research about the 5G networks. Dahil sa 5G guys may namatay, ganon yung effect ng 5G. Yan, the internet. And that's another information then about the internet. But going back, let's now focus on security. A lot of you guys are curious about the internet security. How are we really safe in the world of the internet and browsing? So first guys, a lot of you have asked me, Atcha, is incognito really safe? Ayan. Incognito is safe both yes and no. Why? Kasi the purpose of incognito for browsing is that it does not save your browsing information, does not save the forms you fill out, especially currently in organizations and collecting data from other users. Diba, we use forms or surveys. So the forms that you fill out are not saved, especially the site data and cookies. So incognito only focuses on the private browsing part, but it does not really, it's not totally safe, especially that it still can get your IP address or the address of your device. So ang focus lang talaga ng incognito is for private browsing purposes, so that no one will be able to access yung mga sinearch mo, mga inaccess mo. And speaking of that, you also have questions guys about the data. Atcha, how vulnerable is our data, everything that we do in the internet? Honestly, lahat na information na nilalagay natin is vulnerable, and it's everywhere. It's not really secure. It depends on how you want to secure your data, but everything right now is accessible and can be accessed by anyone. It's just how you make use of your responsibility of putting that information out there. So it's do it at your own risk, kumbaga. And with the data that you have been putting out there in the internet can be accessed by anyone. Kahit right now the technology is so advanced and intelligent that you just Google someone's name and everything will pop out. Like kung wari yung picture mo sa Facebook noong 2011, makikita na agad sa Google. Ganun siya ka-advanced na. And with monitoring, do you think that you're being spied on? Yes, you can be spied on. One question that I have received is, kung nasa-spy ba tayo through our cameras? It depends. We always say, think before you click. And sometimes the link that we can click, aside from the commonality na we we are prone to viruses, malware. Some of the links that you have been clicking or been accessing can actually have its way to access your devices, especially yung mga geolocation nyo, yung mga camera access nyo, mic access. It can also be you can be spied on through that. So always be careful on the link that you get out, that you click on. Diba? You always have to check yung site, your URL, if it's secure. And the action to this is, if you want to have a secure experience in browsing the web and using the internet, is to take control. How dependent are you on the internet? I want to ask you then, guys, do you want the internet to control you, or do you want to control the internet? Which one do you prefer? So we're all vulnerable kasi it always depends on how much information we put out there. So let me check, guys. Do you want the internet to control you, or do you want to control the internet? Ayan, let me go back. Ayan. Okay, let me check the chat. Ayan. Let's check. Sabi ni Princess, I want to control it. I want to control the internet. Second. Ayan. How about the other? Second one. I want to control the internet, sabi ni Jovel. Ayan. Okay. The term I want to control the internet is parang, grabe, parang kaya, no? Pero, in order for, if you want to secure your data, you control the information that you put there. You control yung mga links na ina-access nyo. And ako personally, I don't use incognito that much. Parang ako, wala naman akong tinatago search, ganon. Pero I only use incognito, for example, pag I want to access yung mga different files, mga private files, para hindi ma-save yung mga logins ko. Especially pag, di ba, we have school accounts, we have personal accounts. So that's the only time I use incognito. And for work din, mga ganon. So it depends on your personal use and how much secure do you want to be. Ayan. So always be careful on the information that you put online. And what is the truth? Ayan, let's answer the question in today's talk na, are we really deceived? So I have two quotes here from both different perspectives. We have a technological perspective about the internet, and we also have a theological perspective of the internet naman. Eric Schmidt, a former CEO of Google and a software engineer, says, the internet is the first thing that humanity has ever built that humanity does not understand. It's the largest experiment in anarchy that we have ever had. So, diba, going back, sabi ni Vin Kerf, yung special guest natin kanina, na experiment lang daw talaga yung internet, starting from the ARPANET, ganyan, and naging successful siya along with his co-creator. And the internet has really impacted our lives at present, and most of us until now, we don't know how it really works. We only know how to use it, but we don't know how it really works and how it helps us be more efficient in our day-to-day activity. On the other hand, wait, ayan, sister, ay, okay. Let me just move this. Ayan. So Sister Joanne D. Chittister, a theologian, an author and speaker, says, internet contributed to certainly a new kind of communication among us. Not all of it good, a lot of it dangerous. When we talk about human community, we certainly now have a tool in our hands that enables us to reach out as we never have before. It broadens our sense, certainly, of what community is and even of our own place in it. And we all know that the internet is really a powerful tool. Parang ngayon talaga, parang mga 2008, kaya pa natin mabuhay ng internet, pero parang ngayon, hindi na, di ba? Hindi, parang pagising natin sa umaga, lagi titingnan na agad natin social media. Pag sa work, titingnan na agad natin yung mga emails, yung mga deadlines natin sa school. So it really is an essential part of our lives, although majority of it, according kay sister, is very dangerous. Why? Kasi most of us, parang we go with the flow. A while ago, you have mentioned na you want to take control of the internet, not really dominate the internet, but you don't want the internet to control you. So that's the action that you will be doing starting now. And then wag natin masyadong i-consume yung sarili natin sa internet and influence us in a dangerous way, kumbaga. So speaking of dangerous, commonly you are also curious to know the different things that you find on the internet, especially these terms that you are seeing right now is para talagang nagiging viral, popping up, influencing other people, mga like apps, mga axi, mga ganyan-ganyan. So let's talk about these things today that is related to the internet. So we cannot access this without the help of the internet. So we will be talking about cryptocurrency, the deep or dark web, cookies, and algorithms. Ayan. So cryptocurrency, what is cryptocurrency? So a short backstory, when I was in my first year college, I had this assignment about Bitcoins, about the cryptocurrency, but specifically about Bitcoin. So back 2018, nag-emerge pa lang yung cryptocurrency, pero nandiyan na siya, binuna siya. And then right now, 3 years later, in 2021, nag-boom na talaga siya. A cryptocurrency is a digital currency and wala siyang middleman. It's not managed or controlled by the government. That's why it's easy verification. And you transact these digital currencies anonymously. So there is no limit to how much you want to transact this type of currency. Although, for example, for Bitcoin, this has a limit of 21 million Bitcoins. Ayan. And unlike bank transactions or other online banking, let's say, cryptocurrency, you can access it 24/7 online. There's no transaction cost or fee. There's no central point of failure. Why? For example, unlike banks, diba, sometimes it goes down, the site is down, may mga error. So it causes delay or downtime in transacting the currencies. And currently, we have over 1,600 cryptocurrencies available, namely a Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Zcash. Ayan. Okay. And one also asked about blockchain technology. How does it correlate with cryptocurrency? So blockchain technology is a public online transaction. This keeps history of the transactions you do with the cryptocurrency, and this allows cryptocurrency to be traded or created. Ayan. And ang cryptocurrency, this also fluctuates. So makikita nyo dito sa image, yung parang chart, nagbabago siya based on its value. And how will cryptocurrency be on the future? Or one also asked about the surge of cryptocurrency. These are the things that we have to consider in the near future. So first, there will be a conflict between the regularization of the government and anonymity. So it's the main purpose talaga ng cryptocurrency is to do transactions anonymously. Pero dahil currently it doesn't have any intervention with the government, there will be a conflict with its regulation. So check ko yung chat, may nakita ko. Ayan, sabi ni Edwin, ask ko lang po, pwede ba nilalagyan ng tax yung crypto kung di hawak ng government? So yeah, that is one of the conflict na mangyayari in the future dahil hindi siya regulated ng government. If we don't know, but if magkaroon ng regulation, there will probably be a tax for it or a transaction cost. And it is envisioned that in 2030, 25% magkakaroon na ng national currencies, and there is also an increase of acceptance by merchant and customers. So currently, you have been observing if you go to malls or restaurants na, di ba, everything can be transacted online, mga Food Panda, mga Grab. So yun yung mga, we pay it through cash, we pay it through online banking. And another option here is yung through cryptocurrency transactions. And it is volatile in nature kasi as I have mentioned again, the value of cryptocurrency fluctuates then from time to time. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. Ayan. And next question. So let's go to more internet finds. Is the dark web real? Ayan, yes or no? So let's check dun sa ating Slido results. Ayan. 12 have answered yes. They believe that the dark web is real. How about the others? Ayan, habang naghihintay tayo, I want to read some comments. Sabi ni Angel, I suggest social network movie in Netflix. Eye-opening po para sa ating users of the internet. Yes. And social dilemma, yes, social dilemma. Doon ko din talaga nakita na yung question ko, doon ko din nakuha yung question ko kung gusto nyo ba i-control kayo ng internet or the internet will, yun. Ayan, 75 na yung nagsagot, yes. So, ang daming naniniwala na totoo ang dark web. So, let's see kung totoo nga ba. Ayan. Okay, I'll share my screen again. So, let's check. Totoo nga ba talaga ang dark web? Ayan. Gusto ko din malaman. Sabihin nyo lang sa chat kung nakapunta na kayo doon. Ayan. So, ang tamang sagot ay totoo ang dark web. So, only a few percent, 10% is the public web or the internet. Ayan. And the deep web is different from the dark web. So, around 90% lang ang deep web. So, it's just like an iceberg. So, nandun lang tayo sa surface level when browsing on the internet. And we have as in 0.1, maliit na percent lang ang dark web. So, the difference with the deep web is that deep web, the information is not indexed by the browsers. Ayan. By the search engines rather. And it does not require authorization. But on the other hand, dark web, this is not accessible by any web browser. So makikita nyo dito sa baba, this can only be accessed when you use a Tor and or Onion browser. So or URLs na they have .onion. So wag nyo na i-try. I've never tried going here. Why? Because when you read mga forums, for example, in Reddit about the dark web, or you watch videos about people's experiences going in the dark web, most of them say it's traumatizing. And if you're a really curious person and if you want to really go to the dark web, go at your own risk and be liable for what you came across. Meaning, baka mamaya, but it's really traumatizing. Mga examples daw na they have experiences, they've been seeing videos, how-to videos about the human flesh, how it's paano daw lutuin. Mga ganon. It's really gore, really traumatizing, and it's not something that I recommend for you to go. But I just want to inform you about that the dark web exists as well as the deep web. So they're different. Diba? Deep web, dark web. They are true and they exist. Just go at your own risk talaga. Ayan. And next is cookies. Ayan, si Cookie Monster kumakain ng cookies. So in here, what are the cookies naman? We always encounter this when we go to different sites. For example, our learning management system, sometimes may mga integrated na cookies yan. And an example, ayan, sa baba ni Cookie Monster is a cookie pop-up from Stack Overflow. Ayan, sa mga nag-Stack Overflow, if nakikita nyo to. And it says here, your privacy. By clicking accept all cookies, you agree Stack Exchange. Your Stack Exchange can store cookies on your device and disclose information in accordance with our cookie policy. So the cookie on the internet is not something that we can eat. Ayan, cookies, di ba kung makikita nyo, yung mga cookies may mga crumbs yan. And the cookies, these are the small pieces of data na ginagamit to identify our computer. They're also known as HTTP cookies. They have a unique ID. And dito naman, guys, sa cookies that it tracks users' browsing activity and it can remember your login details. So, di ba napapansin niyo din, it also has a different feature na, di ba remember my login details, something ganon. And the cookie also plays a role in that. And how it goes is that here, dito sa baba, lower right, you will see when you accept cookies, the cookie will be sent to the web browser. Ayan, and vice versa. Ayan. So, how about third-party cookies? What is the difference for third-party cookies? So, a while back, for example, let's say you go to Stack Overflow and then you accepted all the cookies. Everything, the activity that you do in the Stack Overflow web page will be tracked and will be saved. And the difference with third-party cookies, for example, you're in Shopee and you want to share this product on your Facebook page. So the cookie in Shopee or in Facebook, when you link, for example, when you link your account to that Shopee, it will save your login credentials. So just be careful whenever you accept cookies because sometimes yung mga pop-up, they have different purposes. So always make sure before you accept cookies to check para saan ba nila isi-save yung activity mo or information. And one person also asked me, paano daw, bakit pag kung nga nagsisearch ka sa Shopee ng product, for example, with the upcoming sale, you searched about yung a cheap or na mura na laptop, ganyan for example. And then you search for a specific brand on Shopee. And then when you go back to Facebook, makikita mo siya sa ads mo. I don't know guys if you've been observing that, pero di ba it happens as well. Same with the YouTube, di ba makikita natin, bakit yung sinearch natin sa Google lumilitaw dito? It's because then the third-party cookies can also influence that with saving all your activity and yung mga nilalagin nyo, kung sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook, that's how cookies play a role in browsing in the internet. Ayan, it collects our activity, it collects our login credentials. So always check, always check when accepting cookies. Ayan, nakagutom. Okay. And the next is, balik tayo. Ayan. One person also asked, how does algorithm work? And algorithm, the difference of algorithm, di ba, cookies collects our activity. Algorithm is a collection, it's a process, and this also gathers interest and preferences. So this also has a relation to getting our activities online, and this creates and finds patterns in the data from your browser. So Google, for example, Google has a specific field that you can do personalized search results. And di ba parang mapapansin, parang masyado naman na atang matalino yung Google or for example, other browsers. It's because of the data and the activity that we do whenever we browse the internet. It collects it and dun nila binibase yung magiging suggestion sa inyo. For example, YouTube din. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. And TikTok as well. And kaya tumatagal yung screen time natin because that's how algorithm plays a role in our browsing experience. Okay, next. Ayan. So we are on the third part about online learning hacks. And my next poll would be, how many hours do you allot for studying? Ayan. Let's check. Okay, how many hours do you allot for studying? Okay, let's check. Ayan, sa ating mga students right now, we have over 200. Let's check. Ayan. So, wow, napakasipag nyo naman mag-aral 4 hours or more. Totoo ba yan? Joke lang. Majority studies for 4 hours or more. Ayan. And second, you study for 2 hours or less. And least votes, we have 3 hours. So, ayan, we have 200 participants here this afternoon. So, let's wait for the others then. Ayan. Ayan na, gumagalaw na. Okay. Sabi ni Brian, sana all. Ayan. Sana all daw. Nagsastudy ng ganong katagal. Ayan. 49%. Mukhang humahabol lang 2 hours. Ayan. Okay. Let's check. How many? We're at 88. Sabi ni Jubilee, 4 hours bago mag-exam. Ayan. Grabe. Ayan. How about the others? Ayan, 88. Sabi ni Angeline, nakakaya naman sa di nag-aaral. Ayan. Okay. So let's wait pa. Tingnan natin kung makaabot tayo ng more than 90. Kanina naka 90. Ayan, 110. Yan. 112 na. Okay. So humahabol talaga yung 2 hours. So 4 hours or more. Ayan. Thank you. And then sabi ni Giselle, 15 minutes aral, 1 hour pahinga. Kaya pala 4 hours. Okay, ayan. Thank you guys for participating. Okay. So, majority of you study or study pahinga, ayan, for 4 hours or more. So, talagang most of our day, most of our activity is on the screen talaga, and learning online, using the internet, staring at your screen for a long period of time or for more than 4 hours can also have an impact on our health. So today we're going to also answer your questions about health in studying and if blue lens glasses and radiation can impact our health learning online. Ayan, di ba? Napasok na natin ang topic na health about the internet. Ayan, and to answer your question, guys, is that blue filters can definitely help you with your vision. It helps you sharpen your vision. Yung anti-blue light, kumbaga, and it protects you from the harmful blue light on our skin, on our gadgets, maliban lang sa laptops, sa mga tablets, cell phones, and it can you can either have a glasses na blue light lang. So for example, ayan, kung makita niyo, itong glasses ko, it only has blue light protection or blue filter, ayan, pag may blue. And then pag multi-coated siya, parang nag-aano ng salamin. Meron din akong multi-coated. I used the other one for studying. And this one, pag nasa labas ako, multi-coated siya, purplish pinkish. Ayan siya. And multi-coated is also for anti-radiation. It has an ultraviolet coat that can protect your eyes din, especially us students and professors, di ba? Lagi po tayong nasa internet, doing our modules, preparing modules. So, ayan siya. If you want to protect your eyes, if you feel like parang, you need to protect your eyes, wag mo nang hintayin lumabo mata mo. So, ayan siya. Blue light filters can help protect your eyes from the internet, from studying online. So aside from that, you also asked me my recommendations for online learning apps that I use. It depends. All of us students in tech and engineering, we have different ways of learning. I am an audiovisual learner. I learn easily when I watch videos, I watch tutorials. Sometimes, depende. Tulad ng sabi nyo, 15 minutes aral, tapos pahinga. Di ba nagkakram tayo? So, madalas, instead na babasahin natin, nanonood na tayo ng video, mas madali intindihin, mas madali i-absorb. So, ito yung mga recommendations ko for short-term and long-term learning din. We have YouTube. Make sure, disclaimer lang, make sure when you search videos, informational or educational videos on YouTube, make sure that source is reliable. Check nyo din. Kung vlogger man yan, content creator, check nyo din yung description kung saan niya kinuha yung resources. Later, I'll share my resources din kung saan ko nakuha yung mga information. And if you want to take certifications and if you want to study advanced learning then, you can also try LinkedIn Learning. They have free trials, Coursera, and Udemy. And if you guys have other suggestions, feel free to comment it in the chat din. Baka may mga pwede kayo ma-share. Ayan. Okay, ayan. Sabi ni Chester, nag-aaral kayo, Chos. Nakikita ng mga advisory na sana all masipag mag-aral. Ayan. Sabi ni Patrick, me sa pag-aaral, that's 1 minute. See you next week. Ayan. Kakaalam. Okay, so ayan siya, guys. And aside sa learning apps, I also have recommendations for applications for productivity. Ayan. So, baka mamaya familiar na kayo dito sa mga examples. Itong mga productivity tools na to can either help you in project management, task management, personal activities, time management, and graphic design. Diba? Mostly din sa courses natin, sa programs natin, tech, CSIT, engineering, hindi tayo mawawala ng creative output, especially sa mga diagrams natin, daples, mga ganyan. So, one thing that helped me starting this online learning is itong mga apps. I use I have tried ClickUp. Ang magkakapareho dyan is ClickUp, Notion, Asana, Trello. Yeah. And then yung Slack, it's more of a communication platform din. And para siyang Discord. And that's how you can centralize din yung communication nyo along with your classmates or your group mates para na hindi kayo nadidistract. Kasi commonly, di ba, pag kahit pre-pandemic, pag gumagawa tayo ng group work, messenger. So para makapag-focus tayo sa studying natin, sa group work natin, pwede kayo mag-deviate into using Slack or Discord. Sa amin sa thesis namin ngayon, we use Discord din different channels para makapag-focus kami sa activities namin. And then, for graphic design, mga diagramming tools, and sa mga CSIT students, sa mga UI UX nyo, you can use Figma. And sometimes pag gumagawa ko ng group work din sa Figma ko na din siya ginagawa, mga posters, mga ganyan, and sa mga student leaders, pag nag-organize kayo ng posters, pwede kayo sa Canva or sa Figma. So very versatile naman yung mga productivity apps natin na pwede nyo itry. So question, free po ba ito? Hindi pag gumamit ka ng parang on-premise, parang organizational account. Pero if you have a student account, if sa inyo sa PLM meron kayong edu.ph na account, pwede nyo itry yung mga ano nila for free. For example, Figma, pwede nyo i-unlock yung pro features pag gumamit kayo ng school account nyo. Ayan. And then, so, nasan na? Ayan. So going back again, out of everything that you have learned and all the questions that you want to have the answer to, in the internet, who takes control now? Is it you or is it the internet? Ayan. So who takes control now? Let's see the comments. Sabi ni Denise, yan. Who takes control? Us. Yan. Very good, guys. How about the others? Sabi ni Adrian, think before you click motto. So it's gonna be us. Yes, tayo po. Ayan. Ano robot? Robot. What robot? Ayan, us. How about the others? Ayan, us. Very good, guys. I'm happy that you want to take over the internet. A very strong word, but it's really something that we should take into practice. Sabi ni Joseph, Homo sapiens. Tayo, us po. Ayan. Thank you, guys. And next, we'll be going to our sadly last topic about the internet, about the basis of the internet, is how are we going to, now you want to take over, to take control on how we use the internet. How are we going to apply the use of internet in the tech industry? So you also have to envision, kahit students pa lang tayo, as early as now, envision yourself preparing to be a professional practitioner in the industry, engineering industry. So we will be answering the question, am I deceived? And this is about the truth about the tech industry. So here is my advice to you as working na din. I'm working 2 jobs and I've been in the social media field and in the IT field. And dito sa left side, the world of IT, there's a lot of opportunities. Sinasabi ko sa inyo, ang dami. If you are having a hard time right now, kung 4th year ka na, 3rd year ka na, tapos di mo pa rin alam kung ano gusto mo maging, no pressure, don't worry. Kasi nung 3rd year ko lang na-realize, nung 3rd year ko lang na-realize na before, kaya ako nag-computer science kasi I want to become a systems analyst like my mom. Ginaya ko lang mama ko, di ko din alam kung ano gusto ko. Pero nung 3rd year ako, I learned about networks, I learned about information security, and doon ako nagkaroon ng spark ng interest. Ay, gusto ko pala maging cyber security analyst. I have a big interest in information security. And kahit hindi ko pa yun nararating ngayon, I was given the opportunity to be an IT support associate. I do app development, I do project management, and I also do remote support. So, always be open for opportunities. Hindi mo man makuha agad yung gusto mo, pero hindi mo alam na may kakayahan ka pala or galing sa ganitong part ng program mo ngayon. So, for example, engineering, mga ganun. So, still continue to focus on your goal but also be open to other opportunities. Malay mo, meron palang mag-offer sa'yo ng job kahit student ka pa lang. And it's limitless. So don't limit yourself. And so with this, para one way to be open to opportunities is to have the skills, of course. Paano ka makakapasok sa industry if you don't have the set of skills expected from you? So aside sa technical skills, lagi natin inaaral sa school itong mga technical skills, hard skills, always yan. But we also have to improve and be open to grow our soft skills, our communication skills, how we interact with with other people, especially right now everything is online, di ba? Parang hirap mag-interpret kung ano ba talaga yung sinasabi ng bawat isa. So always have the patience in the part of soft skills. Always learn to how to interact with people. Di ba common misconception pag CSIT engineering, mga introverts daw tayo. So we always have to go beyond our comfort zone. And aside from technical skills, never wag kang maging content kung ano lang yung binigay sa'yo. Always think outside of the box. Always do advanced learning. Pag bored ka, mag-aral ka. Alam ko hindi naman lang, pero always have interest, spark interest. And along with learning, hindi talaga mawala yung challenges tulad ng sabi nyo, that's 1 minute and see you next week, di ba? Pero that's a challenge. Yung sinabi mo, that's a challenge kasi paano ka mag-aaral effectively ng 1 minute lang or less than hours. So that's a challenge for you. And in the industry, I am telling you right now that you have to be a fast learner. Madami ako nagagamit sa ngayon as a comp sci student sa work ko. Although, majority pa din is with the advancement of technology, you also need to learn talaga yung mga innovation na nangyayari kasi that's something that you will need in your role. And you also have to adapt to it. For example, ito yung tinuro sa'yo right now. Paano in the next 5 years, iba na yung process, iba na yung takbo. So you always have to adapt and be, continuous learning talaga sa industry na to. And with that, if you are open to the world of IT, if you've been growing and learning the skills, if you are open to face the challenges, you will be successful in this industry. It will help you grow as an individual and to be able to help the community as well. And it will broaden your network and have a community to help other people improve din. So peer mentoring is one way. Pag natuto ka na, alam mo na, tulungan mo din yung iba. Ayan, para maging successful din, not only you but others as well. So that's how you take control of the internet. And that ends my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. You can find me on my YouTube channel, LinkedIn. And if you want to start your account on LinkedIn, this will help you have a network as a student pa lang. You can also check my Facebook page. I also post events there about tech, IG, and I'm also on GitHub if you want to see my projects, my coding projects. Ayan. And here are my resources. Ayan, recommend ko sa YouTube yung Vox. They do a lot of research then, infographic show. And you can scan this QR code if you want to watch more of my talks or webinars about tech. And I would also love to hear a feedback on how this talk went. Let me know what to improve on by scanning this QR code then. And that will help me. And thank you so much for your time, guys.
So, thank you, Miss Athena, for that enlightening talk. So, as a regular internet user myself, especially during this time, we always use the internet in our everyday life. So, for whatever reason there is, right? So, but we need to admit that we don't really know how it works and other aspects of it, such as how information is being transferred, how it can be dangerous if we delve ourselves into it. So, it's really nice to have this kind of informative talk about it.
Yes, she even covered the specific and technical details about the internet. So, isa din sa mga in-emphasize niya kanina is how the internet has become a big part of everyone's lives. It sounds scary, to be honest, para sa akin, and I'm sure everyone can relate to it. But good thing is, we learned a lot of beneficial things today related to the internet. We give our warmest gratitude again, Miss Athena. Before we move on to the question and answer portion, please be informed of the code that you see on the next slide. To verify your attendance for this event, make sure to type in the code MYTH082601. Again, it's MYTH082601. So take note of this code. You will be needing this code later when you answer the evaluation form.
So, of course, this event won't be possible without the following companies and organizations. Team Lee, Study With Me, Association of Civil Engineering Students, Computer Science Society, Developer Student Clubs PLM, Institute of Computer Engineers of the Philippines Student Edition PLM, Electronics Engineering Student Society, PLM Society of Information Technology Enthusiasts, and Society of Manufacturing Engineers PLM.
Now we're giving the attendees an opportunity to send their questions. Go to sli.do and type the code capital letters CETB and small letters INAR to capital letters D1. I'm sorry if that's confusing. You can see in the chat box. Again, it's Setvinar D1. You can also send your questions via Zoom chat box or comments on our Facebook Live.
So wait a minute for our first question. So, sorry. For our first question, Miss Athena, is there a way to incentivize cookies?
I'm sorry, come again?
For our first question, Miss Athena, is there a way to incentivize cookies?
I don't have any knowledge on how to incentivize cookies. Only that it really gets your information and browsing activity. I haven't heard of how we can incentivize cookies pa.
Okay, so the next one.
So for our, I'm sorry.
Wala.
Ako na lang. So for our next questions, actually, this is a funny questions. Any tips daw sa nagbabagal na internet tuwing umuulan? At umuulan din sa amin.
Ayan, I forgot to mention pala guys, I hope you're all safe and okay. Pero going back sa question na yan, parang wala na talaga tayong magagawa yun, how we can baka masyado mo namang sineryoso yung how we now we want to take control of the internet to the point pati yung internet speed i-control na natin, pero we have no power to control and improve that aside from, kasi diba it's sa ISP natin yon. Although if you want to improve yung speed, you can directly put the internet cable if meron kang port sa device mo. Usually yun yung ginagawa namin para mapabilis yung connection aside sa Wi-Fi. You connect the internet cable directly to your device. I hope that can help, pero it depends din talaga sa ISP mo.
Okay. So, for our next question po, may I ask how does lag occur in the internet, especially when playing games, and how to avoid lagging?
Ayan, lagging goes on different ways. It can be on the RAM mo. It depends on the RAM, the CPU. Ayan, nagiging na din tayo, tech support na din tayo dito. It depends on the specifications of your device din. So you have to check yung RAM niya. Sometimes kasi those games, you also have to consider kung saan yung RAM capacity niya. Kasi currently mga games na dina-download natin, mga ganyan sa Steam or is mabigat sa memory. So processor talaga yung you have to consider. RAM and processor.
Thank you, Miss Athena. For our next question, now that you are working po, what's your thoughts po about master of one and jack of all trades, or can someone be both?
Master of one and jack of all trades. I think you can be either one or both. It depends on your priorities talaga. Pero currently, I just got my second job this month. So, dalawang part-time job. So, currently, nagpo-full-time na ako and kaka-start lang din ng school year namin this week. So, parang nagre-reflect ako this week, parang paano ko nakakaya din to and paano ko na-juggle lahat. So, how you manage your responsibilities as a working student is to know your priorities. So, me, ang priority ko talaga is school, especially graduating na. And I really manage my time para maging effective dun sa roles na yon. So, for example, sa first job ko, ito yung shift ko. So, I need to focus on it para hindi ko na siya gagawin sa next shift ko sa other job ko or sa hindi siya makaka-apekto sa school time ko. So it depends on your priorities. You can either be one or you can either be both. Depends din sa kung kakayanin ng self mo, ganon.
So, another question po, Miss Athena. Question po about cryptocurrency. Is SLP a cryptocurrency or a crypto token?
SLP? Ano ulit rin ng SLP? Guys, yan ba yung sa Axie ba yun? Ayan, hindi ko masyado na yung SLP. Pero, wait, ayan. SLP. So, yung mga cryptocurrency values or, ayan, sa Axie nga, Smooth Love Potion. So, I've been hearing about Axie and then, it's a type of cryptocurrency. Sometimes kasi yung mga ganyan, Smooth Love Potion or different games or different, I don't know if you have heard about Buzz Break, pero as I have mentioned a while ago, may mga ganyan nga tulad ng gaming or mga apps tulad nga nung Laika app, di ba naging din yun, naging viral din yung Laika app when it comes to yung mga currencies tulad yan, Axie. And etong mga apps, hindi lahat cryptocurrency. You also have to consider kung in-app currency to, meaning they create their own currency and external yung digital currency na process nila. So for SLP, I think this is an in-app currency, not directly a cryptocurrency. So yun siya. Kasi baka mamaya tulad nung sabi ni Nathaniel, in-app siya. So meaning merong pang middleman behind that game para ma-transact yung currencies na naiipon nyo or na-earn nyo.
So thank you, Miss Athena. We still have a lot of questions, and if you have more questions, go to the Slido link provided in the Zoom chat box. So may isa pong question. Ano po yung ginagawa niyo po as IT support associate?
So I am an IT support associate at Filta Global, and it depends din talaga sa iba-ibang industry. Pero as an IT support, aside from the general requirements na I do technical support, I also develop apps. So we develop apps and I also do automation. If you want to learn how we do automation then without coding or create apps without coding, I also have a video about it if you need it para, di ba, kahit hindi kayo CSIT, kayang-kaya nyo gumawa ng apps. So I also do apps for the company and do automation. So automation is a big help now in technology. Yung mga mundane tasks sa workplace is I automate it para mabilis yung workflow namin. Ayun siya. So that's what I do. Project management din aside sa mga day-to-day tasks ko.
Okay, for just a reminder, for those questions related to security, it will be answered for our next segment. For another Okay, and for the next question po, ano po yung purpose dun sa nagpa-pop up na I am not a robot sa browser?
Di ko lagi na-encounter yung I am not a robot. Pero I think you also have to assess and check kung meron pang other information na nakalagay doon, I am not a robot. Para lang din siyang cookies. Yung I am not a robot login ba tong question? Okay, gets. So, yung I am not a robot is to identify kung yung nag-a-access ng login. Ayan, para mga recaptcha daw. Yes. So, ano siya, it's just to identify na hindi trespasser, gano'n. It's not an outside person accessing your account. And I think sometimes then personally when I observed it, para 'di ba parang nagiging annoyance na din yung verification. And tip din, if you want to sometimes then currently yung mga features na pwede natin integrate aside sa reCAPTCHA or verification is two-factor. So a lot of people na papansin ka, di ba, concerned kayo sa security and then you have a lot of questions. So one way then to protect yourself is two-factor authentication. Although requirement talaga on some web pages yung I am not a robot, reCAPTCHA, yung mga puzzle. So it's just a way to protect then yung mga login credentials nyo when signing up into a web page.
Thank you, Ms. Athena. So next question po is, since cookies are web jackers, are they in any way contribute in decreasing the performance of internet speed and quality?
Not really. Depende din siya sa how much data is it's getting from your device din. So 'di ba nga cookies, it din siya, it also transfers yung mga data packets na kinukuha. So it just depends on the amount of activity that you do, and depende din, again, going back pagdating sa mga speed natin, sa mga sa process ng computer, you also have to consider din yung device specifications mo. Sometimes it also plays a big role then.
So wala na bang questions yung attendees? Habang nandito si Miss Athena, it's better to ask questions sa mga bagay na hindi natin alam. So, yun, may isa pang question. So, is it safe to use an ad blocker and location blocker sa browser po ata to?
Yes and no. Why? Kasi yes, it's safe, but no, because you have to consider the type of location or ad blocker that you are getting. Kasi, di ba, we are all vulnerable, and baka mamaya yung mga nakikita nyo, usually kasi tayo, di ba, kung nag-search ad blocker, top ad blockers or top location blockers, kung ano yung what we see first, yun yung usually kiniklik natin, right? So, you have to also take time to double check kung legit ba siya or valid source ba siya. Kasi sometimes, those apps may seem parang too good to be true, na ito parang ad blocker to. Sometimes, di ba, yung mga reviews, sometimes hindi mo din agad pagkakatiwalaan yung mga reviews sa applications na dina-download natin. Kasi some of those can either be a phishing app that can, instead na matulungan kang i-block, lalo pang nag-take advantage na sa information mo. Your data can be stolen or your data can be corrupted by just installing them, ganon, clicking on the link. So that's one thing na you have to check din. It depends on the type of ad blocker or location blocker, but yes, just have to verify the source first.
All right. Thank you, Miss Athena. So for our last question, is it possible for other users to track my browsing information without my knowledge?
Yes. Going back again, we have different identifications, like yung IP addresses, and people can access your IP addresses that can be connected to your browser and access its browsing activity. Especially commonly, di ba, pag nag-access tayo ng public devices, nagla-log in tayo, minsan hindi natin napapansin na hindi pala tayo totally nag-log out. So that is one way or one factor na your login credentials or information can be accessed from that IP. So it may not be your personal IP, but it can be a public IP na pinaglagyan mo ng information mo. Pwedeng hindi siya login, pero it's a personal information na can give access to all the data that you have.
I guess that's our last question na. Thank you, Miss Athena, for answering. So
Thank
to
you
award
din.
the certificate, let's call on Miss Valerie Katapang, President of College of Engineering and Technology Student Council.
So this certificate of recognition is awarded to Ms. Athena Abe in appreciation of her dedication and willingness to share her valuable insights, expertise, and inspiration to the PLM College of Engineering and Technology Student Council series of CET webinars entitled Power On, Empowering Students with Digital Technology. Given this 26th day of August in the year of our Lord 2021. Signed by yours truly, the CETSC President, Mr. Neil Christian L. Riego, the Project Head, Engineer Perferinda P. Kaubang, the CETSC Advisor, and our CET Dean, Engineer Juan C. Taliara Jr. Thank you so much for Ms. Athena.
Thank you for having me.
So, thank you, Miss Valerie and Miss Athena. So, guys, do you think that's all? We still